20 years of bodybuilding, the strain and the use that you place on those tendons is more than the average person is going to do in a lifetime. I don't believe that anabolics make your tendons weaker or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that, when you're enhanced and you're much, much stronger and you're moving more weight and you're moving that weight week in and week out, yeah, it's gonna take a much larger toll on those tendons than in someone who's natural, who isn't, placing that great of a strain. Having experienced the injury 7 years ago, this time, despite being 7 years older, which generally you don't heal better as you get older, the recovery was drastically better. Now, to be fair, there could be something to be said for the quality of the surgery itself, but also, I think the use of the TB500, the BPC 157, and I was using, pretty decent dosages of both. I think I was around 1 milligram each of each of them per day.
Yeah, and you zipper around the surgery area to kind of, diffuse it.
I did, for what it's worth. I figured, okay, let me try to put it locally. Let's see if it has an effect. And in the first few weeks, I did use some IGF-1, some LR3. And again, not knowing exactly what to expect. And of course, staying on TRT. I didn't use any growth hormone, and I have it on hand. I have several kits of Serostim, but for whatever reason, I just didn't use it. I find that when I use it, I get so kind of bloaty and watery, and I don't know. I just figured out. But I will say this: at only a couple months post surgery, I mean, my range of motion is full. I'm doing things now that I wasn't doing a year post surgery last time around. So something worked.
So what did you do last time then? And were the injuries just as severe? Did you need to drill it in both instances where they have to reattach the tendon with making some holes into the what is it, the knee joint?
Yep. So both times it was a full rupture where they had to drill several holes in the patella, and they tap it and they put in anchors. Then they thread the tendon and then they anchor it to those points. Right. So same exact surgery both times, but last time around, and TB500 and BPC 157 7 years ago, they were around. Yeah. But for whatever reason, I didn't utilize them. Although last time around I did use growth hormone, but the difference in recovery was dramatic this time.
Yeah,
whole different course.
Yeah, the BPC 157 and TB 500 are almost magic when it comes to these kinds of injuries.
I'm a believer.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you contact, what is his name? He also ruptured his quad, falling off the horse, Branch Warren. Did you contact him at a time? Because he almost had a miraculous recovery from his quad tendon tear.
So first time around, Branch had already torn his and then come back and won the Arnold. Something crazy like 7 or 8 months later, which is insane.
Amazing. Yeah, insane. Yeah.
It's for anyone who out there who's never experienced, a tendon rupture, you don't know how bad it is. It is such a hard injury to come back from, especially when it's your leg. If it were to happen in your upper body, you can still maintain your mobility. You can go walk on a treadmill. You're out and about. When it's your lower body, it changes everything. But
can't do anything. Yeah, can't
do anything. But back then, I did contact Branch, and Branch, as to be expected, he just said, man, I just kind of pushed through it, So he didn't have a whole lot of information maybe to offer, but offered his encouragement, which was good. And yeah.
He probably ate like a kilo of boar meat every day that he hunted himself. And that's where he got all the growth factors from.
I mean, the dude was in the gym squatting like 2 months after, which is, I don't know, scary.
It's insane. Yeah. I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I never had a serious tendon tear myself. I tore my pec once and had some micro injuries in my hamstrings, curling too much. But I never really tore anything off the bone. But I've guided many people through an injury healing protocol with, what I disclosed in those videos. And it usually works out quite well, especially if you stack everything together. with the collagen and the vitamin C and the hyaluronic acid and just working your mobility. And then once it's fully healed, then you need to do some acupuncture or what is it, dry needling to kind of break up the adhesions, grass on technique, that kind of stuff. And then usually within a year, 1.5 years, it's almost back to normal, but then the confidence isn't there. And that's what I noticed with myself when I tore my pec, like slightly. It took me 3 years to build up the confidence to lift the same weight.
Yeah, and it's especially when the injury doesn't happen in the gym. Both times that my injuries occurred, first time I was slipping on ice, this time walking down the stairs. So you think to yourself, okay, it can literally happen anytime. It's not like it happened when I was squatting 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of.
But you're properly warmed up in the gym. You're so attuned to that environment. Like I think Flex Lewis just tore his tricep also somewhere random, and again, what is his name? A lot of guys they tear their triceps or they break their arms arm wrestling. Also, this random stuff,
I saw that Jeremy Buendia just tore his Achilles tendon. I don't know if it was a full rupture or not, but
just came back to the Olympia. He didn't look so good as before, but at least he's coming back.
So, one of the things I asked the surgeon, I said, what do you think? Because I'm only 42 years old. I'm in otherwise good health.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do I have to worry now if something else is going to tear? His take on it was it's just hard miles. In 20 years of bodybuilding, the strain and the use that you place on those tendons is more than the average person is going to do in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And, especially when you're somebody who uses anabolics, when people cite the relationship between anabolic usage and tendon rupture, I personally don't believe that anabolics make your tendons weaker or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that, when you're enhanced and you're much, much stronger and you're moving more weight and you're moving that weight week in and week out, yeah, it's gonna take a much larger toll on those tendons than in someone who's natural, who isn't, placing that great of a strain.
Yeah, and it could be simply that the attachment, it just weakens. Maybe the tendon is strong, the quad muscle is strong, and of course, if you slip on ice or you slip somewhere else, this knee-jerk reaction of flexing the quad, and then it tears off the bone. It's the attachment. The tendon is fine, but
Right.
it's the attachment. And you would think that steroids increase bone mineralization, but maybe something happens at this attachment point that is just because it seems that most guys rip it off the bone, not the tendon itself.
Well, that's an interesting point because the first time I had the surgery, after the surgery was completed and the doctor came in and I woke up, he said, everything went fine. He goes, but I don't know what's going on with your bones because you have the hardest bones I've ever experienced. He said they were hard for me to drill. And I said, I figured, okay, maybe weight bearing exercise plus the use of anabolics plus, plenty of D3 and K2 over the years.
Yeah.
And this time around, I mentioned it to the surgeon. I said, hey, let me just tell you, last time around, the surgeon said I have really, really hard bones. And the surgeon, he kind of like rolled his eyes and he was like, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But after the surgery, he goes, you know something? He goes, that guy was right. He said, you have the hardest bones I've ever experienced. So I know that my bones are strong, but I don't know, something's weak.
Yeah, maybe it's just the attachment or something like that. I remember I broke my leg in a motorcycle accident here in Thailand, for God's sake. And then I flipped a couple times. Right, so technically I should have been dead because I was going 100 kilometers per hour. That's over 60 miles an hour. So I just broke my leg and a little bit of road rash. I call that a success, story. So I end up in the hospital, do the surgery. They reattach my bones with the plates. They do the surgery. I got all my road rash removed and cleaned up. And then the next day I talked with the doctor. Said I can't breathe because I bruised all of my ribs up until my hips, basically, right, my spine as well. And he's like, yeah, and it's because that you deadlift so much and you have so much muscle and your bone mineral density is greater that you didn't die and tore your back in half. And I was drug free at that time. So I think there's also just putting your body under all of that load and just keeping all of this muscle and structure together that can actually save your life when stupid shit like that happens. Yeah. Still drive a motorbike though. I love it. We all take risks, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, as bodybuilders, it's one of the things we're good at, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, if we don't do it in the gym. The weird thing is most guys don't really tear stuff in the gym unless it's a pec tear, right? That's just overconfidence. I had like a micro tear in my pec when I unracked 315. I didn't even get to lift it, but my shoulder slipped. So I was ready to bench. I unracked and I slipped because it's so hot and I'm so sweaty here in Thailand. Then it slipped, it dipped, and I was like, all right, maybe not today. And then, of course, the next day it was black and blue. So that took me 3 years to build up the confidence to bench again. And then I was benching. I worked my way up to 315. I did it twice. And then after that, I was like, you know what, dumbbells. Never mind. Too old for this shit.